Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Bob Audet, Data and AI Partner with Guidehouse. Today I have the distinct pleasure of talking with Kim Weis, Chief Data Officer of the state of North Dakota. You had mentioned in some of your comments this notion of like educating agencies. And this kind of gets me to one of my questions of like how critical do you think data literacy is to actually realizing the statewide data strategy, and why is it important? And like who is it who is it going to be important for within across the state?
I think this is my soapbox personally, and has been my soapbox probably from, again, the time maybe I entered state government, maybe not right away, but as I grew a bit in my career as well. So like I mentioned, I've been in state government for almost 20 years, and I've worked across three different agencies. And you see the same characteristics, see the same challenges, the same opportunities across our agencies. I had the benefit, maybe I guess I view it as a benefit, but I had the benefit of really growing up to be an epidemiologist. And so when I started my career with the state, I already had a good understanding of data, and I understood the value of it. And again, how it really, in the world of epidemiology and public health, it drove everything we did. We didn't make decisions without data to support it. And because of that, and just that culture too, we were fortunate because data quality was critical, and we recognized that. So I think we had this great pocket early on that was really, again, just natural. And so as I moved through my career and moved on to other agencies and other program areas, I worked with fantastic people who are incredibly talented and successful in their chosen career fields, but data literacy wasn't often part of maybe their formal education or our professional development program, as we were preparing program administrators. I mean, and actually across all roles, because I think you asked about maybe who this impacts, or who we should be looking at and targeting. It's every role, and I think that's the piece too. Is from you look across the entire life cycle of data. We want people who are our data creators and those entering the data to understand their role and why it's so important to enter quality data at the time. I mean, all the way through to our executive leadership to understand how to use that. And so I think too, over time with my team, and again, many of us growing up as data practitioners, I would say, it was natural for us, but we saw this over and over. So we would really encourage and advocate as much as possible the need to invest in education, in awareness of data, building some of that data muscle. And sometimes I'd say with marginal success. So again, earlier in my career, it wasn't as prioritized, I think. And I think too, folks very much view data through the transactional lens. So there was value in data from a transactional perspective. But moving beyond that, as analytics really started taking shape, and the value of analytics and how you could really use data strategically to gain even more value, as that happened, we really needed even more to educate. And so again, this is something that my team and I have been really passionate about, really trying to encourage. And it's just, perhaps I would even go so far as to say maybe the single most important foundational building block. So going back to building blocks, to me, with any data strategy, this has to be front and center, because without people understanding how to think about data, how to use data, how to manage it, how to govern it, the rest it's not necessarily going to fall into place. For one, it's not going to be easy, and you're maybe even going to be working counter to some of what you're doing. So you have to do this right out of the gate. And ultimately it's driving better outcomes, right? So again, it's always connecting that to that. We want the health, we want the well-being of our residents to be as good as they can, to be the best they can. And so to do that, it starts way back at the very beginning with quality data. I would also, in thinking of our data strategy, as we were building out the strategy with our stakeholders, we identified 4 priority work streams to focus on in the data strategy. And data literacy and building a data literate culture is one of those 4 work streams, because it's that critical, that essential to the success of anything you're trying to do with data.
No, I think that's awesome. And I know you talked a little bit about AI earlier on as well. In some of that same survey I made reference to earlier, I think 64% of organizations that participated in that survey highlighted large scale like skill gaps related to AI within their organizations, especially Gen AI. So it does speak to, especially as state agencies and as North Dakota becomes more AI driven, that education and literacy around those skill sets is going to be critical. All right. Question for you, or follow up on this topic of literacy. Are you are you going this alone in terms of like as a CDO of like driving the data literacy efforts, or are you partnering with others like sort of statewide? But I'm trying to think for like other state CDOs and you know who should they be partnering with within their organizations to really make this kind of literacy program successful?
So that's a great question. I think, again, so we've identified this as a need. We actually have done a little work on our own. So before we even kicked off our data strategy effort, again, my team, I have a team of data scientists and data analysts who, again, have grown up in data. And so earlier we had recognized this need and actually started down a path of building just a very basic 101 data literacy training for all of Team North Dakota. And so in doing that, we partnered very closely with our human resource management services, who provide, they provide a learning platform. They help us with the technology. So my team developed the content,
Yeah.
but then the team helped us really formalize it and put together, I think, a really solid training. And so this actually launched within the last, I think, oh gosh, was it right at the end of 2023, early 2024,
Hmm.
launched. And so just again, it's about an hour-long training and just an intro course, but has been met with huge success already. And it's been really fun to get feedback from people who are participating in it. And again, even those that across the entire spectrum of data experience, of data knowledge, that find something really, really valuable. So through that, again, we did one course and we made it part of our Leadership Everywhere series. Again, this is all HRMS. So the marketing piece, I mean, getting the word out was easy because we had these great partners who'd already done all of this. And so they really supported that. As we continue, we'll see kind of how this shakes out. I don't know yet what our plan will be, if we will do some homegrown development of data literacy, if we'll just look and try and recommend learning paths, because again, we do have access to different learning platforms. The other thing, I think the other piece that goes hand in hand again, so we're a central IT organization. We really want to start the spark, right? We want to get things moving, but at the same time, just given where we're situated, our own size of our organization, our bandwidth, and other work that we're doing, this can't necessarily be our entire priority. I wish it could be, but it can't be. And so we're always looking too for who do we collaborate with and partner with. And so again, we want to really just get things kick-started, but hopefully light that spark, that fire for agencies to pick up that mantle themselves and then really run with it themselves internally. Because to me too, if it's something that we're telling you to do, or it's viewed as a top-down approach, it's just not as successful. I mean, any opportunity we have to engage folks early on, to partner with them, to encourage and support, reinforce that messaging, and then really empower them and enable our agencies to just pick that up. And again, start building that into their own culture, because I mean, even in North Dakota, every agency has a slightly different culture. And so they need to do what's best and most successful for them.
Kim, really appreciate the investment of your time and your insights. I think other state data leaders can certainly greatly benefit from the insights that you've shared, and I certainly hope individuals, watch this podcast and take notes. But I really want to thank you for joining today, and I encourage the viewers to visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews and also watch this podcast. So, Kim, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. I enjoyed it so much.